This week on The Big Show. The latest episode, we have DC Comics' latest film, Black Adam, will open in theaters this weekend, and we've invited comic book guru Julian Lytle on, who will join us to break down the hierarchy of the DC entertainment universe, as well as talk about Black Adam, the film. Plus, we'll talk about the Creed trailer, which dropped, which we both have some comments about that one, as well as A Ticket to Paradise, The School of Good and Evil, and Till, which will all be in theaters this weekend. We'll have all of that and more on episode 511 of Keeping It Real with FilmGordon. Let's go. All right, and welcome to the latest episode of The Big Show, Keeping It Real with FilmGordon. I am Tim Gordon. Charles Kirkland Jr. will join us momentarily. As they say, Julian, you get in where you fit in, man. That brother will fit in at some point during the show. I got Julian Lytle on, and I only bring out Julian, as I call him, aka the comic big gun, when I got some stuff to talk about with film and comic book films specifically, and I know Julian has the answer. So thank you, Julian, for joining us today, man. In light of the release of Black Adam, we will definitely see you again when Black Panther comes out, because I'm definitely.
I guess so. Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah. I mean, there's certain films, man. I got to find out how you feeling about these movies. But it's funny because Charles Kirkland, who I told you would fit in when he got in, seems to be in. And Charles Kirkland, welcome to the show. We waiting for you to turn your camera on, brother. There you go. What's going on, man? Julian, don't worry. He see this. I'm used to Charles. He does this every week. So instead of coming in, he's gonna freeze like yeah. Okay, we'll ignore him, man. But anyway, there's Charles Kirkland Jr. who wants to be on clown time right now while we talk about these comics.
Fashionably late. He fashionably late.
Fashionably late.
Fashionably.
But the interesting part, Charles inspired today's show topic because he and I were having a conversation after Black Adam, and Charles told me that the being that we think or have been told all my life is the most powerful being is not the most powerful being in the DC comic universe. Would that be accurate, Charles Kirkland?
If you're referring to Superman, yeah, that's correct.
That would be correct. Now, I spoke with our comic book guru who said he didn't say this exactly, so I'm paraphrasing. He's like, Charles is smoking that love boat. I don't know what Charles is talking about. Superman is the man, right? So having established that, Charles, tell us why Black Adam and Captain Marvel, aka Shazam in the movie, would be more powerful in the DC comic book hierarchy than Superman, in your knowledge and genius on this.
Well, there have been times when Superman has come out on top of Captain Marvel, but on the regular, Captain Marvel, because he has magic and Superman has no defense against magic, Captain Marvel usually wrecks him.
Julian?
They really don't fight often. So the few times they did fight, in the end, usually Superman comes out on top because he's Superman. The Superman has the ultimate cheat code of being Superman. So when he needs a new thing to overcome any obstacle, he will gain this ability. The biggest problem with Superman, especially modern Superman, is that so Superman doesn't have any bonuses or buffs against magic, right? Him and Batman have the same level of defense against a magic attack, and that's the biggest problem. But Superman, if he wanted to, could just probably go learn some ancient Kryptonian sorcery, and then he would have to get defenses against magic. It's just like technically Superman can't fight. He just punches and stuff. He'd never been trained to fight. Well, at least the modern version never had no training to fight. But if he spent a little time in the gym, learned, did one-on-one class with like Robin or something, he would be way more damaging because it's like, oh, now he really know how to scrap with all those superpowers. But generally speaking, like a lot of the times, because a lot of the most modern versions of their fight all dictate back to a story that came out in '96 called Kingdom Come, by Mark Waid. But even at the end of that, it's like that Superman is holding back because at this time, Captain Marvel, aka Shazam, is being mind controlled through Lex Luthor and Mr. Mind. But so Superman is holding back because he knows this is happening. But in the end, when he hits the little lightning bolt, he super speeds his hand on his mouth and say, like, yo, you like at that moment in time, you using all this lightning bolt to hit me. But especially as Superman gets older, he gets more and more and more and more powerful. And then once you get to like things where like Superman goes into the sun and becomes Superman 1,000,000 and all of this, there's a whole bunch of other things that happen where Superman gets exponentially more powerful and doesn't die. Whereas in fact, Billy Batson is going to pass away one day, or he might become the Wizard. Either or. When he becomes a wizard, then we can have more of a conflict because that's when he becomes like a fundamental part of the universe, along with like Ganthet, Highfather, Zeus,
who are all more powerful than Superman.
Maybe. like, maybe.
Now you notice I didn't say anything during this whole exchange, right? Because Julian,
this is way out of your.
Julian pulls out the big comic brain, right? And he's like naming stuff like, and this, it's funny. I'm sitting at the movies with Julian the other day, and I heard him say this 3 times. So finally, the third time I have to ask because he kept going, "Yeah, this 52." So, Julian, could you explain the reference of 52 that you kept using when you were watching Black Adam?
So, okay, some backstory on the stories that inspired the movie. One story is called Black Rain, which happened in a title called JSA from 1999 to around 2008, where Black Adam decides to take over his country from a despot, Kondak, and part of the JSA is like, yo, we riding with you, and Hawkman and the older ones is like, nah, this ain't the move, and Billy Batson, aka Shazam, sits out of it. Another story that happens after a big crisis, Infinite Crisis to be exact, the second main crisis, was called a storyline called 52, which was a 52-week maxi series where they put out a new comic every week.
Right.
And in that story, while now Black Adam is the leader of Kondak, he meets Adriana Tomaz, who is played in the movie by Sarah Shahi, and she ends up saying like, these are the things you need to fix in the country, teaching him what he needs to do to make himself like a good leader, and then he ends up falling in love with her and marrying her, and at the time her brother, Amon, and then they became they become the Black Marvel family. Like he shares his powers with his family, but then things go bad because of villains and one of my faves, Darkseid, and things go very bad for Black Adam and Kondak. And then Black Adam takes it out on the whole DC universe, and almost all the heroes got to fight Black Adam, and many of them catches Mighty Fade.
Yes.
And he tells them, and when it's even over, he kind of loses, but he also like, don't y'all never come back to my country again. And then he like loses his powers, but he gets them back. He tries to get his wife. It's a whole bunch of stuff they didn't get to in this, but that story 52 sets up a lot of things that you see in this movie and a lot of characterizations that this story pulls from. And also, there's a cover from that series in which is the one that The Rock saw and was like, oh,
yeah, when he said
that's the guy. Yeah, like that's the one I can be.
Yeah.
And it's the clearest inspiration for this film out of anything else. Like you can get that cover as a poster, and you can say like, oh yeah, Dwayne Johnson saw that joint while making that football quarterback movie with a daughter, or the Tooth Fairy was like, I'm fit to be him, no matter how long it takes. We get to 2022, and we outside.
When he took that seat, I leaned over to my son. I was like, "That's the poster right there."
I was like, "Oh, y'all really had to remake the cover." I'm like, I'm not even mad at that. I'm not mad at that at all.
All right, can I ask a question? Have we settled the debate? So, Charles, did you agree that Superman is more powerful than anybody else in the DC universe? That's all I want to know before I move on.
Superman has the ability to be more powerful, but he is not the most powerful.
Julian?
I agree to disagree. Hey man, I read stuff every week, man. I was saying Superman. Like he saved creation through singing. You just don't like he.
It's all in the interpretation of the writer. You get a writer, and he'll say, you know, Shazam can be the best, or Black Adam can be the best. I mean, Black Adam wrecked the whole universe for real.
That's true. He was doing something, but Superman also he had no powers in, so you know, crises have big effects on Superman usually.
Right.
Things happen to Superman after a crisis.
All right, I'm gonna be the judge and render a decision and say that we're gonna side with Julian because pretty much what I've known, I don't know comics the way you guys do, but all my life, man, I haven't been watching Black Adam shows or Captain Marvel shows. I have been watching Superman all my life. So
well, he does reverse the Earth backwards and turn back time again. Crazy abilities, like can't nobody do that. Like I gotta save Margot Kidder.
Yeah,
and it's like she came back. I was like, yo,
that was just in that movie.
Charles,
although Superboy has traveled through time many a time to go be with the Legion of Superheroes in the future. So I mean, yeah, he can. He's formidable.
He's formidable.
Yeah.
You saying that the GOAT is formidable?
Yeah.
Hey,
Superman
you know,
is the GOAT.
Black Adam he got some power. His powers come from the Egyptian gods. You know what I'm saying? There's a certain level of, you know, hometown, home team. You wanna ride with him. It's like, oh, they start talking about Zahudi ahead of you, be like, oh yeah, he about to whoop somebody.
Basically, though, Black Adam and Captain Marvel have the same powers. It's just that Black Adam has been rocking it for thousands of years, and Billy Batson's a kid. He don't know anything about what he's got.
Yeah, it's usually it's the way I usually say is Black Adam is Old Testament, literally.
There you go.
He handles things like plagues upon Egypt.
Back in the old days.
Eye for eye. You playing these games? I'm not playing. I don't play games. That's why he got no humor. When people are mad in these bad reviews I'm reading on Rotten Tomatoes, like he has no personality. It's like, no, you
just don't get his personality. That's who he is.
He don't spare the ride. He don't spare the ride. He don't forgive.
I read a review. I didn't read the review, but I read the title. That it says it was. I want to pull out this word because I don't ever think I've heard this to describe a superhero movie before. Was it entertain? It was something around the word of it wasn't an entertaining film, and I was like, what movie did you watch? Like I was very entertained watching this movie.
Yo, he was throwing people all over the place. He was burning people up with lightning. Hawkman was rocking Bammers. And I also think that sometimes some of the jokes in that movie are basically just not white enough. Because every time Hawkman told Atom Smasher, yo, me and you, yo, I was like, that is
me and you.
I was like, yo, that's the blackest joke. That is, I heard that too many times growing up. I was like, oh, Atom Smasher.
Yo, man. Me and you when I get back on the ship. Me and you.
I was like, whoever don't laugh at that, I was like, oh, so yeah, you too white. All
right. Well, let's get into it, man. Since we're talking about Black Adam, and we're also, well, actually, before we get to reviewing Black Adam, we got one more thing I want to talk about. Everybody here saw the new trailer released for Creed a couple of days ago, right?
Yep. Yeah.
All right.
I told you about the Creed release.
You did tell. Well, I didn't. This is not a who takes credit for seeing it first. This was the question was, did we all see it? Damn. I live with a woman that does that all the time. That's why I'm like, really?
I'm just trying to get some credit because you gave the award to Julian.
Well, I gave you award. I gave Julian the verdict because most people watching this show are going, give it to Julian. I don't know what the hell Charles is talking about. But anyway, about this Creed trailer, man, let's talk about this, man. Now, first of all, the trailer, this is probably the first film that's in this franchise that we have no Sylvester Stallone. Rocky is like, you know, man, I'm just tapping out on this one. You go ahead on and continue the Creed journey. I'm gonna sit this one out. And the story, I thought Julian and Charles was pretty basic. You know, a man is probably retired now because that's what it seemed like. He wasn't fighting anymore, and he's managing fighters. And all of a sudden, this boy comes home. You know, if you're Black, you understand what coming home means. He comes home, and you know, like, hey man, you don't remember me, man? We was boys back in the day. And we go from in a 2-minute trailer from being boys at the beginning to Jonathan Majors pulling off his shirt and being as swole as Michael B. Jordan. And suddenly I knew it's coming. There's a fight between the two of them. Now, I haven't even watched the movie, and I'm not going to say what I think is going to happen, but what I think is going to happen is probably going to happen in the Creed 3 story, right? But Jonathan Majors, man, you know, I'll start, as we talk about the trailer, at the continued evolution of this dude, because people keep forgetting that, like, what is this, 2022? I think was the last Black man in San Francisco 2019? Am I correct?
Might be 2018.
Might have been 18.
Okay, all right.
He was also a white boy, Rick. He just been outside. He just been making. He just been.
This dude in 4 years, bruh, has gone from a fringe actor to, and we're not even talking about Devotion. We're not talking about Ant-Man 3, Quantumania. I mean, we're not talking about The Harder They Fall last year. Jonathan Majors, this has got to be, and I'm not being funny, but think about what I'm about to tell you. This has got to be one of the most miraculously quick ascents of a Black actor that I probably have ever seen. Because Jamie Foxx didn't come out of nowhere when he did Ray. He had done Ali and had been doing some stuff, so you knew about Jamie Foxx.
He had a history behind him.
He had a history.
Yeah, this is like 5 years.
Wrong when I say this, that I don't know of any other actor in my lifetime that 4 years, like I saw him do a movie. I think I saw The Last Black Man in San Francisco at Sundance that year. And then 4 years later, this dude is friggin' like mega huge. Lovecraft Country. I mean, the amount of projects.
The Five Bloods.
Yeah, the Five Bloods.
He's just in stuff. Yeah, he just, it's been 5 years.
Anybody want to take this about this ascent of this guy from zero, or as Biggie used to say, he went from ashy to classy in 4 years, bruh.
Well, wait, are we talking just Black actors or actors in general?
No, I'm talking specifically Black actors, because you got to understand that it's much tougher for these Black actors than it would be for their mainstream contemporaries. And to see Jonathan Majors explode like that, I'm like,
Will Smith.
No, Will Smith. No, remember, when Will Smith was an actor, hear me out, Julian. When he made Independence Day, he had done 6 Degrees of Separation. He had been the Fresh Prince on TV. So you knew who Will Smith was. You just didn't know.
And that was 5 years, though.
But don't forget
5 years.
Video.
5 years of him being on a #1 sitcom.
Before he got the TV show. So, I mean, it wasn't like he
was the Fresh Prince, man. So it wasn't like Will came out of nowhere. I'm talking about Jonathan Majors came out of nowhere. Like, what did you know about Jonathan Majors in 2016, 2017? No,
I think he came out of nowhere.
This dude came out of nowhere. Like, think about it, and Julian won't understand this, but look, biblically, right? Think about how there was time before time, and then all of a sudden there was Jonathan Majors. And you were like, well, where did he come from? Like, what happened? Where was Jonathan Majors at in 2015, 2016, 2017? Where was Jonathan Majors at?
He literally is Kang, just stepped out of time and became a superstar.
Bro, and I'm gonna tell him, like, dude, what did you do a Robert Johnson?
He was in school. That's where he was.
Like,
he didn't graduate from Yale until 2016. So he was in school.
Okay, so here's the other thing, Julian, about
I'm looking them up. You know what I'm saying? I got the internet. You know?
No, but this is good. But this is one of the things that I told Charles, which I think is also
Lupita Nyong'o. She came out of nowhere.
No,
she
won an
Oscar. She won an Oscar out of nowhere.
She came out of nowhere, right? But hear me out on this with Jonathan Majors. Jonathan Majors, and I say it all the time, I don't even know if I'm explaining this properly, but he has a certain look that plays across any time period, right? You've seen him play in the 40s and 50s in Lovecraft Country. You watch him in Devotion. He's in the 1950s. He has a face that's almost timeless, that can work in any period as an actor. It is the most unique thing about Jonathan Majors. Like, even watching him in The Harder They Fall, when he's in the 19th century, he never looks out of place. And when I say looks out of place, I'm not talking about his costume. I'm talking about this.
Look,
his look. It's very unique in a way of what he's able to do as an actor. And I just find it to be fascinating. Every time he drops a project, I'm always like, damn, who is Jonathan Majors' agent? Because whoever he is, that's, if you start in the game, you need to find his team and rock with him, because they have jolted him.
You gotta make sure you're good. You gotta make sure you as good as Jonathan Majors. It helps he got an MFA in acting from Yale, so I do think he probably got some.
Julian, he is not the only actor in the business who has an MFA from Yale. I'm just telling you, man.
They all do pretty well. Lupita Nyong'o, I think, got
Angela Bassett, Lupita Nyong'o. There's a bunch of people, but Jonathan,
and they all act great.
You said he came out of Yale in 2016.
Yeah.
Damn, he has set the world on fire in like 5 years.
5 years, yeah, 5 years.
Yep.
So am I the only one that's stunned by this, or is it just y'all are like, man, that happens all the time?
He do good work.
No, he makes good choices. I will say that much, because acting, as we know, and we all watch enough movies. If you pick the wrong roles enough times, you don't get a chance to pick roles. Cuba Gooding Jr. Who else can I name? I can just name people. You know, people who once upon a time had careers and suddenly we don't see them anymore. Derek Luke. You know, if you pick wrong.
Oh, Derek Luke be on TV though. He be on TV. That's not totally his fault.
I'm just gonna freeze my face right here. Look.
Who's the agent? That's what I want to know.
I'm telling you, Julian. See, Julian keeps forgetting that I do this little thing called the Black Reel Awards, where we track what actors have been doing for the last 20 years, and I can give you names of people who once upon a time were hot in them streets. You ain't heard from them people in years, bruh. In years. Where's Google about the Raw these days?
She just had a movie on freaking Apple. It came out like a month ago.
Yeah, that's not a good.
Let me try this again.
She British.
Okay.
They always eating.
Okay. I forget.
Britons
that
can
I have
act.
to quantify stuff for you guys, because
Britons
y'all
can
always
act
like I don't know the same stuff y'all know, right?
Britons can act.
I'm talking about people who are consistent actors, right? So I give you a good example. In 2004, the first time I ever saw this actor, she was blowing a snot bubble in a movie called Antoine Fisher, and I was like, "Damn, who is that?" They was like, "That's Viola Davis." I was like, "Oh, okay." Viola Davis, within 20 years, has become one of the greatest actors of her generation, and it all started in Antoine Fisher, right? Inside that same time, Halle Berry was hot as fish grease, went away, made a bunch of bad movies, came back with Bruised, and was able to get back in the game. Sanaa Lathan, who was really, really hot at the beginning of the century, has fallen off, and now she's directing. But I could go on and on. I can keep throwing out names of people, because, again, I remember people we honored who suddenly were hot, and then we never heard from these people again.
That's just not always their fault.
It's not always their fault, but it's just it shows that the people who, the Denzel Washingtons, the Spike Lees, the Tyler Perrys, there's a certain amount of grit and determination and luck and skill that it takes in order to have long careers doing this. And that's why I take it all the way back to Jonathan Majors, that there are people, man, that just don't get in the game. People don't come in the game and get that hot that fast, right? Like we saw Mahershala Ali. Mahershala Ali is still doing great work. He just had Swan Song out, I think, a year ago. He's got, the Blade.
Rami.
So Mahershala started out hot, and now he's maintaining a career, right? You know, maybe a project or two a year or something like that. But Jonathan Majors is everywhere, man. I'm like, damn, who is this guy's agent?
Money before Mahershala.
Wait, say it again.
Jonathan Majors got that Marvel money before Mahershala.
Julie?
Did he though? Did he though?
Yeah.
He was in Loki. He was in.
But they announced Blade. They announced Blade before anything to deal with like Loki or any of that stuff.
Yeah,
so
but guess what? You ain't getting a check until we make a movie. You ain't getting the check in advance.
Is that again? Is that his fault?
No, that's not his fault.
They're messing it up.
It's not his fault.
That's not their mess. Not his fault. They're messing up Blade. Not his fault.
Well, it's not his fault that the director dropped out like
exactly
2 months before they were about to start shooting.
It was supposed to come out next Halloween time. That was coming out 2 years from now. So again,
Yeah, but I just say all that to say, man, that
Jonathan eating, they all eating. It's all good.
No, but I was gonna say, man, no slight, because we had Rob Morgan on for our film festival a couple of months ago, and he told me, the visibility didn't always mean that an actor's working, because he said he had gone a year where his phone didn't ring at all. Nobody hired him for jobs, despite the fact that you saw him be Turk Barrett over here, or you see him being in This Is Us, or he's in Bull and all these other projects. I mean, the life of an actor, man, ain't easy, man. And that's why, I give people like Denzel Washington so much shine, because, Denzel is at a point in his life, Julian and Charles, where he'll rock one movie, man. You pay me my $30 million, man, I'm good. I got one project a year I'm working on, and I'm good. Viola Davis, I don't know what her pay scale is, but Viola Davis does
not
just
enough
work that she's doing her thing, man. Plus, this is her final season of How to Get Away with Murder.
Wait, I thought that was over already.
That was over.
No, I heard. Don't they have a 6th season of it coming out?
No,
or is that over? I'm reading an old article. My apologies, because I don't watch the show, so I could have swore that that was something I read. Maybe it was something that was dated and old, so my apologies. But yeah, man. So kudos to so any other comments on the Creed trailer other than Tim taking it in the Jonathan Majors direction, and y'all were like,
Yo, Adonis might get knocked out. That's all I need. That's
what I'm saying. Well, he's gonna get knocked out early, and he ain't gonna have to fight back. That's the formula.
That's pretty much what I was even ready to say. Yes.
I hope not. They gotta do something. They gotta do something different. I do like that they go into Oscar De La Hoya take with the whole like, oh, I'm gonna start managing fighters. You know what I'm saying? Like that's really, pulling from current boxing stuff. I enjoy that. You know what I'm saying? I do like the fact they didn't try to like remake Rocky 3, you know what I'm saying? Like it doesn't feel like Clubber Lang, even though he missed a T big. I know, but that's for sure. Majors look scary. I guess he got to keep that look up, because then he got to be Kang, and he got to be Kang in 50, 11 things for the next 3 to 4 years. So,
but does he need to be cut like that to be Kang?
You're a superhero, a super villain.
We in the Marvel universe, bud.
Kang scrap. You know what I'm saying? He's not a CG
I don't know.
person.
That's what I'm asking y'all from a comic perspective. Does he really need to
he
be?
Bust guns. He bust guns. He be in the thick of it. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? He took over Egypt for a while. Like he's just like, I'll just run this thing. You know what I'm saying? Like we'll see what he should be. He needs to be scrapping more than just Ant-Man. He got to be.
Who's scrapping the whole Fantastic Four? What are you talking about?
That's what I'm saying. He got to. I need to see him fighting, not just Ant-Man. I need more than Paul Rudd. Paul Rudd, he just get knocked out, and then he got to fight like somebody with some serious hands. So, because Kang, that was my guy. You know what I'm saying? Now he gonna become a meme talking about, we was Kangs, and
Ant-Man is at the end of Ant-Man and the Wasp, and the Avengers avenge him in Kang Dynasty. That's how.
And then probably Loki too. Loki season 2, whatever that come out. And yeah, be a whole bunch of stuff.
I'm learning so much, man, because I'm like, Kang is fighting? So I didn't read any comics. I don't know any of this.
He fight. Just like Thanos. Thanos fight, even though he was a big CG cartoon. Like Kang is more regular. He don't gotta be a CG cartoon. He just gonna beat people up.
Put him in a suit, purple suit, he can go.
Unless he got to deal with my man Doom, and then he gonna get the fade, because it's Doom. Doom reigns supreme.
Woo!
that's the real. That's the real beast.
Like a language right now. I have no idea.
There's this character called Dr. Doom. The character's so Dr. good that a rapper named himself after him and became one of the greatest of all time. Because that's how powerful Doom is. The mere inspiration of Doom makes you great. So
Wow. All right, you guys, look. That's why Julian is here, man. We need this insight from Julian, talking specifically this time about now because you guys crossing over. So we started in DC. Now y'all over in Marvel now.
when we start talking about Jonathan Majors, he came.
Yeah.
You know?
Wow. All right, bro. So
And Michael B. Jordan might come back as Killmonger. Who knows what's gonna happen in this Black Panther movie?
well, there was and I will say this a couple of weeks. Travis Hobson, who's not here, he and I had a conversation about Black Panther 2. And he swears, he was like, Tim, the fact that we saw in the trailer that Shuri is Black Panther, he said it's like a red herring. He's like, don't even believe that. He said she might be Black Panther at some point in the movie, but when the movie's over, she won't be Black Panther at the end. Which to me makes a little sense because Marvel is smart enough to give you just enough to get you in there, and that would make sense if something like that would happen. And I fully expect that at some point Michael B. Jordan's gonna come back as Killmonger because we never saw him literally die.
Yeah,
like we saw him fall out, but we didn't see him die.
Nah, he died. Here's the thing. There's a time in which when Shuri became Black Panther, it was ruler of Wakanda. At the time, T'Challa was not. But then, during his adventures with the Fantastic Four, during a writer named Jonathan Hickman, who they pulled so much stuff from his last 5 to 6 years of comic books, he should actually probably have $1 billion. T'Challa became king of the dead. He became the Black Panther of the Wakandan underworld. So he would interact directly with every previous Black Panther. And Shuri was still the main Black Panther, but T'Challa was the Black Panther or the king of the dead. So all Killmonger has to be since he died is the king of the dead. So you can have 2 Black Panthers.
What's this? Look, I'm gonna fall back and wait and figure out how they're gonna do this. But
see, Tim, it's like spades, right? When you play spades, you can look at the hand and there's only but so many books in the game. Me with these movies, there's only so many cards they can play that I have no surprises. Because either way, I'm gonna figure out what you're doing, and I can you ain't gonna run a Boston on me. I'm not sitting here, you know what I'm saying? Like I know what you're gonna do. So
that's a good point.
So Julian, watch this. I'm gonna put you on the spot. I'm gonna put you on the spot, Julian. Black Panther, I read today, is the low number is 175. I think personally it's gonna go 210, 205, 210 opening weekend, destroy the record of the first one, right?
I don't know. People still out here getting sick. There's people still out here
not
going outside.
170. Look, Julian, they're at 175 now, and they're saying this is before they do word of mouth screenings and before. So they said even rival studios are expecting the take to be $30 more million on this, 35 more million, right? So what are you anticipating the direction of where they're gonna go since they only got, as you said, so many cards to play? With Chadwick Boseman being out of the picture, Letitia Wright being in the picture, and some of the other characters, where do you anticipate Marvel is going to take Black Panther 2?
Oh, okay.
I'm sorry. Was I supposed to give you a check before I asked you this question? Because you was almost like, "Oh, you want me to answer this?"
I think some of this movie is going to be in a flashback. I think, of course, they're going to kill T'Challa, which I don't agree with. They're going to somehow make that Wakanda some type of cause of issue with Atlantis in terms of historically Namor attacks the surface world because he feels that the land dwellers do not respect the seas and the domain of the people within the sea. So they're going to make something in terms of their trade or something that's going to cause some type of thing. Being that they have Namor as a mutant and looks different from all the rest of the Atlanteans because they're blue and he is like Mexican colored.
Yeah.
A tannish color. clearly some type of animosity that's going to lead to stuff with the Dora Milaje. I think that's how they're going to pull a lot of the ranks in regards to Shuri, her friendship with Ironheart. I think I as much as I brought up all the stuff with Killmonger being a Black Panther, I can still see that I could believe he's not going to be in it, but going by their track record and they're surprising, and they did. I agree with Travis. They kind of showed the lady in the suit already, and we already see a little bit of Ironheart. It's going to be something else in there. I do think at the end of it, Namor won't be a complete villain because, like, Namor is an Avenger. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah,
like he's an Avenger. He's also an invader. Like, he has connections to Captain America. He's connections to the X-Men. The whole him and Black Panther being enemies is a very recent thing, and that still rubs me the wrong way. I think the movie's gonna be too long, but I do think this might be the first movie to actually push the narrative forward in regards to leading up to the Secret Wars or whatever. So I do think we're gonna get closer to whatever Kang has planned or his interaction to lead into that, because there's other stuff we have to worry about. Like, just because like the movie's out, but then the Guardians of the Galaxy special comes on like not too long after it.
Christmas.
Yeah, so everything is a bit different than what it used to be, because now we got TV specials and TV series involved. We now know that She-Hulk don't really matter much other than like some Hulk stuff at the end. But I just think there's a possibility we could have two Black Panthers. I do think bringing Michael B. Jordan back would be a smart play, and redeeming him is pretty easy because I didn't like the way they played him out in it anyway. And you got to think so. Half of the Black audience didn't even think he was a bad guy, even though he
was a bad guy.
Nah, man, he treated that. He like let his girlfriend get killed. He was trash. He burned all the. He burned all the herbs.
System.
Nah, I don't care. Damn, police actions. Like, actions. He burned all the herb. Like, nah, bro. Like, nah, he needed. Yeah, I just didn't like him getting stabbed. Like, they could have done that better. But I do think they can bring him back.
This would be a precedent, though. We've never had a villain other than Loki who's made more than one appearance in the Marvel universe,
which is a big problem.
Never say never, man. You know how Marvel rocks, man.
It's a big problem with the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Terribly.
Yeah. They waste them, and they make them too charismatic.
All right, man. So we got about 20 minutes left, man. So this is good. That's why you listen to the show. That's Julian Lytle. I call him the comic book guru. We got Charles Kirkland, who also is way smarter at this than I am, man. So I see to both of these dudes. But let's talk about Warner Brothers big film. Well, actually, not Warner Brothers, but
it is Warner Brothers.
It's Warner Brothers. Let's talk
Warner
about
Brothers
Black Adam,
DC.
man. So let me set it up for y'all. Of course, Black Adam tells the story of is a spinoff from Shazam and the 11th film in the DC EU, the DC Extended Universe, directed by Jami Colette Sierra. The film stars Dwayne Johnson, of course, as Black Adam, alongside Aldous Hodge, Noah Centineo, Sarah Shahi. Thank you. Marwan Kenzari, Quintessa Swindell, Pierce Brosnan also, and the film tells the story of the origin story of Black Adam 5,000 years ago, and we see how the story unspools. Now, I, as a non-comic book fan, will just say that I thought, and I watched a lot of these films, probably almost all of them, right? All of the films in the DC, EU, all the films in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. This film worked for me. I mean, from an action standpoint, from what they put on screen, because Julian was at the screening with me. A buddy of ours, what's his name? That hangs with Shireen, actor Ulysses. I asked me after the film, "What'd you think about the movie?" And I said, "Well, I didn't really understand the characters." And he looked at me and screamed, "As a film critic, what did you think about the movie?" So, Ulysses Campbell, this is for you. As a movie, I thought the movie moved well. I didn't get every detail of the story. That's why I have friends like you guys. But for what it is, I thought The Rock did well. I thought the action and the setup of the story was well. I liked the special effects. I liked the arc that the story took. It was a little confusing at one point because you've got these characters with a Justice Society I had never heard of. I was familiar with the Justice League. I don't know nothing about the Justice Society of America. So, and at one point, Julian got irritated with me because I was having fun butchering Hawkman?
Hey, why you out here disrespecting
the God? Julian was like, I'm
disrespecting
Hawkman.
His name is Hawkman. He was in the Super Friends cartoon. Stop playing.
So Hawkman, what was this? Atom Smasher, and who was the other young lady?
Cyclone.
So yeah, and then
Dr. Fate
played Captain Fate, right?
Doctor.
All right. Man, hey, people. Hey.
He is honorific. He got a profession.
So I thought the story went well. If you're going to see it this weekend, you got to stay all the way to the end for the end scene that you sort of know what it is, but you got to stay anyway to watch it because people have been running their mouths, so they done told everybody kind of what the end scene is about. But I thought that was cool.
Here's a great thing though. For you guys, there was one end scene. For me, there was two.
What do you mean it was two end scenes?
They dropped another end scene in the movie for the second show that happened on Wednesday.
That's some bull.
Wait a second. Was it after everything ran through?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, they robbed us because we sat there.
We sat there to the last credit just to see.
Wow. So there's another end scene they added after that?
Yep.
Julian, how you not do that? Oh, so we don't get the end scene because we see it early.
I almost walked out the theater just like everybody else because they brought the lights up, but a certain Allied rep said, no, you need to stay. Because they did something special. I was like, what? Okay.
All right. So here's what why
they do that for us? Right. Now I'm tight.
So no. The interesting thing is after I get off this show tonight, I got tickets to go back and I'm gonna watch Black Adam again. So I'm glad you told me that.
I ain't paying for this, man. I get him enough money.
So Julian, what did you think about Black Adam?
Right now I'm tight. That's what I am.
By the way, I gave the movie a B+, man. It might have been an A if I would have saw the second end scene, but B+ is sufficient. Julian, what are you thinking about Black Adam?
Nah, I thought, man, I gotta feel. Let's see, you shouldn't even told me there was a whole nother scene. That was, man.
Julian was like, wait, what?
No, I thought it was actually really good. I thought the way in which they adapted the material was actually close to the comics and helped and stay true to the character. Black Adam isn't Dwayne Johnson. He isn't smiling. He isn't eyebrow raising. He isn't like the most entertaining, electrifying man in all of entertainment today. He's he gone through some stuff and he's like, yo, I got this power. And what do you mean this criminal organization took over my homeland and I've been gone for 5,000 years trapped because what I'm saying, he went too far and the wizard had to punish him. Like I like the fact Jamal Hansu was there as the wizard as he's supposed to be. Yeah. I like the fact he's continually popping up like that's what you're supposed to do because he's the wizard. And I like the use of Intergang. I like the bad guy they chose, which is a classic Marvel family villain. I think everything worked well together. I like the Justice League. I like the push and pull with trying to get a character that openly says like I ain't no hero, and push him closer to I guess a more moderate stance than what he is. And the performances were good. I don't even get when people get confused. It was a super straightforward movie. It has a pretty easy, breezy bad guy. And I guess my problem with some superhero movies is they take so much credit, take so much time to make the bad guys empathetic and charismatic and understanding what their reasonings are at times. You actually relate more to the villain, the super villain, than you do the hero, No, the supervillain in this is a devil. So you know what this is what it is. Like Black Adam, yeah, he might go a little bit too far, but it's a devil, bro. It's the devil, bro.
Pretty much
from hell, bro. Like it's not even dancing around the thing like Marvel's going to do. Like no, in DC universe, the devils are the same ones you read about in your Bible. It's the devils. Like they deal with that. They didn't even get too far. They could have brought the Spectre in there too. They had the judgment of God in there. or Black Adam in there, like, I don't know, you might gotta kill these guys, bro.
You know what? I didn't think about that, Julian, but you're right. They didn't even try to hide. It's the devil.
It's the devil. It's the devil. Like 6 devils give the power to this person to be a devil on earth. Like Black Adam was like, well, I can't, you know, I might kill people. Even Hawkman was like, yeah, he killed the people, but he better than the devil. Like you got get your butt out here.
I never thought I'd be happy to see you.
You know, it's the devil, bro. Like,
wow. Charles, what you thinking about Black Adam?
I think you guys have hit it. At least Julian has hit the nail on the head. This is one of the more faithful treatments that the Warner Brothers has done with a DC comic. I really enjoyed it because you know I'm a comic book geek and I've seen all this. There were a lot of shots, like we said, that are straight out of the comic book scenes that you see in the movie that are straight, like the cover poster shot that one time. But there's a lot of stuff that just was exciting for me as I'm watching this film. And so yeah, I think this one is one of the best ones that they've done. Black Adam is like Marvel's Wolverine or Deadpool. You know, he's not a superhero. He's not a good guy, and he doesn't play like he's a good guy. He's straightforward and let you know, I'm about my business. I kill people. So what? They deserve to die.
Him and Namor are very close in character. That's a lot of people relate those two instead of like yeah, they rulers. You come out of pocket. They have no qualms about.
You will lay the smack down.
They're world leaders, so they work a little bit different. And like they have different, you know, ideas and things to worry about, and just like, oh, we gotta do things. Like, nah, man, I still gotta like feed my people though. Like, like people so. You just coming across our borders like they don't exist. Like, oh, okay, nah, we're going to punch you real fast, knock you half of the next week.
So it seems like we all on the same page with Black Adam. So grade wise, Julian, what would you give this film?
I gave it a B because I do think I did notice like there's a lot of stuff in there that, you know, people might get confused. Like it's easy for me to follow. Like I know about 20 members of the JSA off the top of my head. I know Black Adam. I know all the stuff with the Marvel family. I know all this other stuff. Even like pulling Eternium out of the like Eternium, like that's deep. Like you pulled that. You chose that. All right, bet. Like you Sabak. Like all right, okay, you digging right there. But so I'll give it a B just because some stuff I know isn't going to work for everybody. But you know, this is easy when I'll rewatch like superhero movie. Period. Like it's to be as faithfully adapts to the character. Like it is what it is.
All right, Charles, and what about you?
Julian is right. This is not as accessible as Wonder Woman is to everybody who will watch it, but I don't care. I don't care about what you think about the film. I know what I feel about the film. I gave it a B+.
All right, I got you, and as well as I did. So we are highly recommending that, and I'm looking forward to checking it out again a little later on this evening. We got about 10 minutes left on the show. Charles, did you get a chance to see Till?
I did not.
And Julian said and for reasons I understand Julian's point, so I need to hit this one. I need you guys to listen to this and hear this.
Well, look,
Till, of course, which drops in theaters this weekend, is a biofilm about Mamie Till, an educator and activist who pursued justice after the lynching of her son, Emmett Till, back in 1955. The film stars Danielle Deadwilder, Jalen Hall as Emmett Till, Franklin Faison, Haley Bennett, and Whoopi Goldberg. And I don't want to mess this sister's name up, man. The director who also did Clemency.
Chinoe.
Who?
Chinoe
Chukwu.
Yeah.
Okay. Is the director. Let me chop this up a little bit, man, because Travis Hobson and I, who's a colleague and friend of mine, we went to the screening of this and we were sitting kind of a couple of seats from each other. And I'm not making this up, man. 15 minutes into the movie, man, when you see Emmett get on the train to head down to visit his cousins in Money, Mississippi, I looked at Travis. I said, man, technically I can just get up and leave right now because everything that happens after this, none of it's going to be good. And sure enough, I was right, right? For people of a certain age, I'll just say this, man. If you're over 40 years old, man, or if you really are well versed in this story, I don't care if you'd have got Martin Scorsese, Steven Spielberg, Christopher Nolan, Spike Lee. I don't care who you would have got to direct this movie or this story. The story, if you're us, is going to be horrible, right? It's a horrible story. I don't care if it's from Emmett's perspective, his mama's perspective, a third party watching it, like these stories are written in the Bible. It's a horrible story to watch. And I told Travis at the end, because both of us, of course, were upset walking out of the theater. And, of course, you always had the rep standing outside the door. What'd you think about the movie? I said, man, the movie was black trauma. He said, what are you talking about? I said, for me, what would be the takeaway for me watching the Emmett Till story? I knew what was going to happen going in. I know the story backwards and forward. I understand, as I said, and I was telling the story to people at the Middleburg Film Festival, to white folk. I was like, they made this movie for you, right? They didn't make this movie for us. Much in the same way, 12 Years a Slave, Detroit, Fruitvale Station, Precious. Those movies are what I call one-offs. And Till fits in that as well, that despite the fact that I thought that Danielle Deadwyler was great, and she's probably going to get an Oscar nomination for Best Actress. I don't really think there's any other quote unquote performance in the film that really, really works well. But the story is about her actions and what she did and how she was courageous to not hide the injustice of what was done to her son, but to put it out there for the world to see. So I thought Danielle Deadwyler, who's also starring in a Netflix series right now called From Scratch. Danielle Deadwyler is another one, along with The Harder They Fall last year, that's suddenly starting to get a lot of work. She's a woman who we're starting to see more of, and she is fantastic in this film, right? But having said all that, I'm never watching it again. There's no reason to ever watch Till again if you're me. And I'm not sure about Julian. Julian may want to check it out one time when they send you a screener or give you access. I don't know. But I still think it's a really good film, but it is a very difficult film to watch. And I mean, just to basically put it out there, it just doesn't do anything for your spirit, man. Like, I don't like if Julian watched that movie right now, like if you got off the air and you watched that movie right now, it probably would upset you to the point where it might alter your sleep tonight, or it would stick with you until you could get it out your brain by either doing something else, watching something else, reviewing something else. But this is the difficult part of being a film critic, that there are projects sometimes that you watch that, just don't edify you in any way. And outside of it being educational for a new generation of people who may not be familiar with the story, it's not something that I would watch again. So anybody with any comments on the Emmett Till story, and this is a much different interpretation, which I think is also interesting, than what was done in Lovecraft Country when they kind of had the episode around the Emmett Till funeral. I forget what it was called, Jigabobo, episode 7 or 8 of Lovecraft Country, which I thought was very well done. But this is a different interpretation. But try as this sister who made this film might. It's a film that'll play one time as a prestige film, man, but put it in that bucket with those other films that I named of stories that I'll never watch again.
Well, they did have a TV special this year that also addressed the Emmett Till story, and you know, after so many times of watching it and experiencing it, you just can't do it anymore. And so when you ask me if I watch Till, I never even planned to watch Till because I've been exposed to it too many times. I think the only director I would want to see do another story about Emmett Till would be Quentin Tarantino, because maybe he would have Emmett Till beating up the white guys and change the whole narrative. But I can't watch it anymore. It's just too, like you said, it's grievous to the soul to watch, and the TV version was rough, and they got to be limited in what they show on television. So I can only imagine what a film would do with it. So I was just like, I'm out. I don't need to see it. I know what the story is. I've seen the pictures. I don't need to experience it.
Yeah, and he's talking, Julian, about Women of the Movie.
Yeah, I know. I was about to bring that up. Like,
yeah,
it was a mini series. It was like 6 hours long.
Yeah.
So it's like, I was to me, I guess it's one of those things where multiple people are working on similar projects, and then they both kind of come out within the same calendar year. Because I'm like, ABZ promoted the mess out of it. Like, they had ads on, like, it was like, we're gonna put this on in January. It's gonna go all throughout February. So during Black History Month, you can watch the story of this woman who had this very tragic thing happen to her son. And I got 30 minutes into that show, and I was like, nah, I'm good. So when I saw the poster for the movie, I was like, oh, this is a similar thing. It's just condensed. I'm good. I'm not going to that screening. I know enough. I've seen it interpreted enough. Like, I can deal with certain things said about certain parts of the history, but at a certain point, I do get the younger people criticism that's like, yo, it's either always about the civil rights movement, and it's all about slavery. And it's like, I'm one of the people is like, well, they don't teach this stuff in school, so people need to learn from it somewhere. But then at a certain point, it's like, yo, y'all gotta mix it up. Y'all need to make more movies like My Name is Dolomite, like make a story about going apart shooting Shaft, or make a story about Brian Gumble becoming the host of Today's Show. Like, there's some other joints out here that y'all got to start getting into production. Like, shoot,
well,
even
the problem, Julian, is that the movies, the stories that are uplifting or inspirational, folks ain't trying to fund those movies, man. But you could always find money to make movies about the Middle Passage, about Jim Crow, about slavery. And, they have us believe that everything about our history, like if we go back and make any period films about our history, there's always got to be some race, some passing. I mean, you just look at the menu of movies you've watched over the last 10 years and tell me, if I had to sit up and I really had the time and went through all the mainstream movies, I can guarantee you those 3 subjects that I just gave you would garner the lion's share of the movies that would be historical films about people who come.
I believe, I do think now they got to start, and maybe certain people are the ones with the means and the money to do so, need to start making some things. So, like, hey, seems like LeBron and Maverick out here making things, because their first movie is about 2 guys throwing a party in LeBron's house. So there's nothing.
Which looks terrible.
It looks fine. It looks fine.
Okay. I ain't gonna say nothing.
It doesn't look great. It doesn't look good. It doesn't look a movie that was made for streaming. But hey, it looks fine enough.
Hey, look, Chadwick did Jackie Robinson and Thurgood Marshall. Those are 2 positive stories. Now we're going back to the slavery stuff and the all that other stuff.
No, I don't call it the slavery stuff, because people been banging that drum. Well, the movies, we talk about movies about our history, and you have to put up your own money. So to Julian's point, if you got some people like Byron Allen and other folks of means, y'all should be telling some stories that uplift folks. Look at The Woman King, man. The Woman King, I thought, was a movie that uplifted people, that was based on something historic. And now people complaining about historically it's not accurate. Miss me with that.
Yeah, a bunch of stuff is inaccurate.
100% accurate, man.
300 was inaccurate, but guess what?
Every story is inaccurate.
It's a
My
story. It's a movie.
problem with The Woman King is that they should never have come out in the same year as Black Panther.
No, I can't. You can't make that criticism. The problem is that The Woman King would have come out much later if Black Panther wasn't
Didn't
out this
exist,
year.
yeah.
But you can't.
That's-
There have been
that's-
plenty of years where stories overlap, where you see the same sort of story in the same year with two projects.
You're making my point. You're saying the same thing I'm saying, Tim Gordon.
I think the Woman King coming out before Black Panther 2 helps Woman King, because then there's people like me telling people like, hey, you like the Dora Milaje? Well, these are the literal people that inspired the Dora Milaje. These are the actual people that Christopher Priest took inspiration from to put the Dora Milaje in Black Panther 24, 25 years ago, because the Dora Milaje did not exist in Black Panther in 1965, 1975, 1980. None of the time he was on the Avengers, he didn't have no Dora Milaje. A black guy got a chance to write Black Panther and completely change the character into something else. So, like, I do like the fact that I could go to tell people, it's like, you like that movie that y'all saw 3 times? Go watch Viola Davis movie where she playing the people that inspired the cartoon people.
And if they were smart, if the studio was smart, if I was Sony, I would bring Woman King back in more distribution and put it out right around November the 11th. So you could have a double feature of the Woman King and Black Panther 2. That's what I would do. But
they'll probably put it out on video, the premium video on demand, so people can just watch it at home.
Yeah.
Remember, Sony and Disney got a partnership, and that partnership is called Spider-Man.
Oh, big time.
You don't want to mess up. The partnership is good. Everybody, they got PlayStation games to sell. They got movies to sell. We gotta keep things going. Black Panther might end up in one of them games too.
Man, we got to wrap this up, man. We over time, man. So, Charles, any last words that are quick, that within 10, 15 seconds?
Don't go see Ticket to Paradise.
All right, Julian.
Go see Black Adam. Rotten Tomatoes is wrong.
All right, and disregard Charles. We didn't bring up that movie that should have been on Hulu. That they dragged us to the theater to watch the other night, which is called Ticket to Paradise, which pairs up Julia Roberts and George Clooney in a story that's
way too much information.
There was a second scene at Black Panther. I am so tight. I'm so mad right now. I'm so mad.
Please stay when you watch Black Adam, like I'm about to do as soon as I get off the air, so you can see the second scene that Charles told us about, because Julian and I saw one end scene. And I think Charles is playing with us, because I don't think there's a second end scene.
And I got
it makes no sense to show a second end scene.
And everything.
Say it again?
I got a swag bag and a poster and everything.
Oh, man. All right. On behalf of Julian, thank you for coming on today. Charles, thank you. And as we tell you guys every week, please see something good at the movies. Black Adam is in theaters this weekend. Maybe Till works for you. I don't know. But don't see Ticket to Paradise until it comes on your streaming service a month or two from now. On behalf of everybody, you guys take care. Enjoy your weekend. Peace. We out.